The Shaman. So Lee put his balloon and equipment into storage, and with his dwindling gold, hired a boat with a gas engine. Having flown over the country some years before, but that memory was good, and he had little difficulty in finding the right course among the swift-running streams. The headman nodded in appreciation, and one of the wives received the bundle Lee removed from his pack. The headman nodded several times. Lee's eyebrows rose, but he merely said, "As you say, sir. Is he here?" Standing in the doorway, gaunt, blazing-eyed, was a man, dressed in skins and furs. His black hair was streaked gray, his jaw jutted strongly, and his osprey daemon sat glaring on his fist. "Yes," said the shaman. "And you're from Texas, you say. The winds have blown you a long way from your homeland, Mr. Scoresby. But unless I'm mistaken, sir, I heard the village headman say that I had come to take you to another world. Did I get it wrong? Or is that truly what he said? And one more question for you, sir. What was the name? What was that name he called you by? Was it that some kind of tribal name? Some magician's title?" "Very well," said Grumman. "I'll begin. My name, as I told you, is Perry. I was not born in this world. Lord Azrael is not the first by any means to travel between the worlds, though he's the first to open the way to so spectacularly. My own world, I was a soldier and then an explorer. 12 years ago, I was accompanying an expedition to a place in my world that corresponds with your Beringland. My companions had other intentions, but I was looking for something I had heard about from old legends, a rent in the fabric of the world, a hole that had appeared between our universe and another. Well, some of my companions got lost in searching for them. I and 2 others walked through his hole, this doorway, without even seeing it, and left our world altogether. At first, we didn't realize what had happened. We walked on till we found a town, and then there was no mistaking it. We were in a different world. I made my way to Berlin under the name of Grumman. I told no one about my origins. It was my secret. I presented a thesis to the academy. Defended in a debate, which is their method. I was better informed than the academicians, and I had no difficulty in gaining membership. That's your task, Mr. Scoresby? That is why you sought me out? The shaman fell silent. His face was pallid with a faint sheen of sweat. "This is the craziest damn idea I've ever heard in my life," said Lee. He stood up in his agitation and walked a pace or two this way, a pace or two that, while Hester watched him blinkingly from the bench. Grumman's eyes were half closed. His daemon sat on his knee, watching Lee warily. The headman spoke at some length. More and more of the villagers came out to touch Grumman's hand, to mutter a few words, and to receive what looked like a blessing in return. Lee, meanwhile, was looking at the weather. The sky was clear to the south. A fresh-scented breeze was just lifting the twigs and stirring the pine tops. To the north, the fog still hung over the heavy river. But it was the first time for days that there seemed to be a promise of clearing it. "That's right. And there's more troops coming. This is just the advance guard. There won't be a loaf of bread or a gallon of spirit left in a week's time. Do me a favor at taking this boat. The price has already doubled." But before they could do so, there was an interruption. From the alley at the side of the warehouse came the noise, pounding boots, moving at the double, and a shout of command. Halt! Lee shouted, "Let go, you damn fools! She's going up." He let go of the suspension ring and saw that the huster was crouching in her usual corner, eyes half closed. From far below, as a long way back, came another futile volley of rifle fire. The town was receding fast, and the broad sweep of the river's mouth was glittering in the sunlight below them. "Well, Dr. Grumman," he said, "I don't know about you, but I feel better in the air. I wish that poor man had let go of the rope, though. It's so damned easy to do, and if you don't let it go once, there's no hope for you." "Thank you, Mr. Scoresby," said the shaman. "You managed that very well. Now we settle down and fly, and I would be grateful for those furs. The air is still cold." So, there's some questions that I just would like to present. What is a shaman? Is it someone with magical abilities? Is it someone with some expertise or wisdom, some skills? Perhaps it's somebody with an inclination for something greater than himself. Well, based on what I skipped through creating a new story, sparking the imagination, I would say a shaman is something of the past, something that doesn't really exist, someone who was given special importance by his tribe or his cultural or ethnic group, and someone who tried to voyage beyond constraints of this world to discover other worlds. A lot of times shamans would do like ayahuasca in the jungle or mushrooms, but these to enhance his state. And it's questionable what kind of wisdom this person brought back. A lot of places that had shamans, practiced a barbaric form of sacrifice that included human beings. And one could say, well, where'd they get this? It's not wisdom. You can't sacrifice a human being to anyone or anything. And you could say nowadays, do shamans exist? Do they have some kind of place in the modern world? And I would say that maybe you take a look at an influencer. Could they be modern day shamans? Are influencers downing ayahuasca? No, probably not. I'd hope not. But they have influence. And, a lot of times what an influencer says becomes almost a way of life for many people. Specifically in the form of product buying. Influencers will say, "Oh, this makeup cream, this protein bar, is great." And a lot of people will then purchase it. The little known fact, well, it's not little known. I feel it could be little known. I think it's little known and slowly accepted that influencers are paid for this marketing push. And companies pay to get their products out there, and they seek out influencers. And for better or for worse, they seem to have a great hold on society. And I think you could discern from this new story that we have a character named Grumman and a character named Lee. And this Grumman character is obviously the shaman. Having a backstory that he came from another world. But it didn't end very well for him. He had to suddenly leave this place he was in. He came under fire and had to take off in some kind of aeronautical vehicle. Brings to the point that, shamans can be accepted by society. They also cannot be accepted by society. There are a lot of influencers that have controversial opinions. And because of this, they're shunned and canceled and done away with. Could be their opinions are harmful to other people or themselves. Because they have such a big following, it makes them dangerous to themselves or other people. You could think that the virtual world of technology and social media could be another world. It's a digital world. It's not here I am in a room recording a video, and you're seeing this could be miles and miles away. But it really is another world. Almost like sleep. You go to sleep, you have a dream, you wake up, and now we find ourselves in a place where we're awake in the real world, where you can touch things, you can see things, feel things like the breeze on a windy day, yet you're on your phone texting somebody about something. And it's a great tool, but I wonder, a lot of people, they follow these shamans very closely, and it's almost like, what about their own selves? Just some stuff to think about. And I think that it's quite important for people to take a step back and kind of just think about their own life and be your own shaman. In essence, what do you like? What do you like to do? Is it what your friends like? Is it what so-and-so on Instagram likes? On TikTok? On Facebook? On YouTube, right? Where you're watching me on this video. But I'm not advocating that you take anything I say for anything. In fact, I advocate that you take what I say, formulate your own opinion, and formulate a new story. Just kind of like what I'm doing. I'm taking a story and I'm skipping around and creating a new story. I'm not even going to name the book anymore, right? This was chapter 10 called The Shaman. I have no fucking clue. Excuse me. I have no flippin' clue what the book is. I apologize for cursing. It just slipped out. And but don't turn that dial. You know, and create a new story. You know, create your story. And you know, people, I think, would be better off if they developed a higher sense of filtering all this information that we're getting. And it's like all this information, and I think people should filter it and, you know, create their own story, their own storyline. It's really hard because people follow these celebrities, they follow these influencers, these shamans. And I think a lot of these shamans should have, you know, just fly away, like in the new story that I wrote, like Grumman, right? He flew away. And it's like this Grumman man, you know, they thought he was, the people there, they thought they were getting blessings. And create your own blessings, you know. You know, no matter what your life scenario is, create your own blessings, because anything that you create has value. And you know, anything you create has value. Because creation comes from a place of ingenuity, comes from a place of heart. And you know, I've seen sculptures that are a little disturbing, frankly. I've seen art that is questionable to its artistic and intrinsic value. But perhaps I just don't understand it. And the person who created it, you know, is telling their formulation of their story. For example, I saw a piece of art that was just a chair, a wooden chair, in an exhibit. I was like, what is this? Can we sit in it? Our observers, but you could not sit in this chair. Just a chair. It's like, I guess you can't sit in it, so what is it? You just look at it? But there's obviously something there, you know, I wasn't understanding. And obviously the artist had something they wanted to say. So, you know, create your own story, and beware of these shamans. You know, these influencers, the modern day shaman. You know, think twice before you rush out and buy that 15th lip gloss, right? You know, think again before you're going to change your body through surgery such as plastic surgery. Because, now here's the important thing, because an influencer told you so. Now, you could look in the mirror and say, hey, I really want bigger lips, and that would make me happy. And you are the one who is making that decision. It's not your friends, your family members or the shamans. It's you. You're the one who's saying, you know what? I want bigger lips because hell of it, man. I think that would be beautiful, and that would make me look beautiful. It would make me happy. Then, of course, get bigger lips. What I'm trying to say is there are people who push this. It's not about, you hear the conversation, it's not about a higher standard of beauty, because some people have a lot of money. Some people um, sculpt their bodies to be perfect aesthetically, you know. Which brings another question, what about people who are not aesthetically pleasingly beautiful? Are you saying they're not beautiful? I think um, people, should aestheticize themselves. Made up word. Aestheticize themselves, but don't sterilize yourselves. So, take beauty and either, get those bigger lips or don't. But you should be doing it. It should be your story. You're creating this. And I think if you do it from a place of heart, like I said before, then you're like the story I just read, the guy who didn't let go of that rope, right? He's hanging on to that shaman, and he died in that story. You don't want to be that person hanging on to the shaman. You want to, be your own shaman, be your own creator. And if you do that, I think you'll succeed.